Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can, just so we can out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Alright, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come in the house. And today, I'll be going over the 13-man Summer League roster for the Celtics, just some brief thoughts, areas of improvement, and expectations for the guys. As y'all can expect, I'll have more thoughts on some guys than others, as not all guys in the Summer League will make an imprint, but I can promise you at least one word for everybody. So let's get into it. First is 20-year-old Jordan Walsh. Walsh is going into his second year after being picked 38th overall in last year's draft. Walsh played in 9 regular season games last year, but got most of his playing experience in the G League, playing 27 games. He averaged 15 points, 7.5 rebounds, and shot 43% from the field and 36% from 3 on 6 attempts. He showed obvious defensive prowess in the NBA minutes he got and scored well in the Summer League last year, averaging 18 points on 45-37 splits. I want to see improvements all around from Walsh. I want to see him be more comfortable as an offensive player, especially in real NBA games. And in Summer League, I want to see him with more pick and roll reps, as he's shown he can make the right decisions in those situations more often than not. Lastly, I want to see how his body has changed and how he uses it to his advantage. He has elite length for a 6'7" guy, but he came in really skinny, so if he has gotten stronger, that will help as well. Next is Neemias Queta, who signed a 3-year deal with the Celtics this offseason, so congrats to my boy. He played 28 regular season games, averaging 5.5 points and 4 rebounds, and was also a G League first team selection. The Sacramento Kings waived Queta last offseason to secure a spot for veteran big man JaVale McGee, which cleared the runway for the Celtics to sign him to a 2-way deal, and we're here now. Neemi is a beast in the paint, finishing at the rim and rebounding, especially offensively. Being from Portugal, he's very nimble on his feet because soccer is his first sport. This helps him stay with perimeter players on occasion, and he's also a good shot blocker. Areas I want to see him improving are finishing better around the paint that's not a dunk. He shot 10 for 29 on non-restricted area paint shots this season, which is 34%. I also want to see strides in the awareness and positioning departments. Lastly, I just want to see him play more basketball. At 24 years old, he has only played 47 NBA games, with more than half of those being last season. Next is the Celtics 30th overall pick this year, Baylor Scheierman. I've already done a scouting report on him, so if you haven't seen that, I'll have it pop up somewhere so you can click it and watch it. Scheierman is a 6'6", very solidly built all-around offensive player out of Creighton University. His most redeeming NBA quality is his shooting, and he can do this any way you want him to. He's also a great rebounder, averaging 9 per game this past year in college. I expect him to be a seamless fit because of his all-around game. The one question is defensively, which he has said in practice interviews that he's come a long way in. In college, he wasn't a horrible defender, but he does have slower feet and not so fluid hips, so switching onto quicker guards can be a problem. Other than that, I think Baylor will be good. Next is Jaden Springer, who is the most experienced player on the roster in terms of NBA games. Springer has played in 67 games and appeared in 17 last season. He was drafted 28th overall by the 76ers in the 2021 draft and spent a couple seasons with them. He was then traded to Boston this last trade deadline, and he has clear likable traits. He has a wrecking ball type motor and is an above average defender and athlete. The improvement for him is clearly on the offensive side of the ball. Biggest thing is him finding his shot. Ideally in today's game, you want it to be the 3 ball, but if he can find any jumper with some consistency, that would be huge. I would also like to see more creation for others in his game while under control. Davison was picked 53rd overall by the Celtics in the 2022 NBA draft and just signed another 2-way contract with the team. He played only 8 regular season games, but has been a force in the G League. In 28 G League games last season, JD averaged 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 27% from 3 on 5 attempts. JD has elite athleticism and is a great passer. He played alright in Summer League last year, but I wanting him to improve in his game management and ball security. Also, I'm not expecting much, but JD has to find a way to be a consistent jump shooter. Again, he shot 27% from the arc in the G League, but shot 7 for 15 in last year's Summer League. If JD can show some improvements to his outside game, he can really open some eyes. Next is Peterson, who also just signed a 2-way deal with the team. The 24-year-old had a 5-year college career, spending time with Rice and finishing his college days with USC. He went undrafted last year and signed an Exhibit 10 contract with Miami, but was later waived. 2 months later, the Celtics signed him to his first 2-way deal. He impressed in the G League last year, playing 34 games, averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists on 46-37 splits. Drew can do some of everything, but the calling card is his shooting. For Drew, I just want to see all-around improvement and mostly some steps taken on the defensive side of the ball. Next is the Celtics 2nd-round pick, Anton Watson. Watson, the 54th overall pick, had a 5-year college career with Gonzaga. Last year with the Zags, Watson averaged 14.7 rebounds and 2 assists, shooting 57% from the field and 41% from 3, but on only 1.5 attempts per game. Watson is a savvy forward that says he models his game after Al Horford. He's a switchy defender, and our G League coach even said his on-ball defense at 6'8" is special. The team also believes in Watson's shot and think he should be more aggressive from behind the arc. He seems like the type of player who will make an impact any way he can. This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winners roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less, it's that easy. With the finals over, the hoops action doesn't stop on PrizePicks. Women's basketball is still heating up, with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Brianna Stewart and Aja Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week, from lowering select players' stat projections on Tuesday to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. I've been using PrizePicks for about 2 years and I've made a pretty penny in that span. I've only been doing men's basketball and football in the past, but with the rise of women's basketball, I think it's time for me to get into that. I remember making my first $10 deposit and receiving an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, you can play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000. Once again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less, it's that easy. Next is a player I'm really interested in seeing at the NBA level, and that's Tristian Enaruna out of Cleveland State. The 23-year-old went undrafted in this year's class after spending time with Kansas, Iowa State, and most recently Cleveland State. Last season, Enaruna averaged 19.6 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2.7 assists on 50% shooting from the field and 32% from 3 on 2.5 attempts. At 6'8", 220, he is a good inside the arc scorer. He has skill, size, length, and athleticism coupled with the ability to handle the ball well. He shot 64% at the rim and 45% from the mid-range last year in college. The next step for him is to show that he can hit those shots from 3 or be so good in the mid-range that he doesn't have to rely on threes. The Celtics signed him to an Exhibit 10 deal, so I'm excited to see what happens. Next is Harper Jr. Harper went undrafted in the 2022 NBA draft out of Rutgers and has since played 10 games in the NBA. Last year, he played 6 G League games with the Raptors 905 and averaged 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists on 45% from the field. An area of improvement I think for Harper is his three-point shooting. In his 2022-2023 G League campaign, he shot 28% from 3, but last year he regressed down to 19% on 4.3 attempts. Hopefully, Harper can show something and get another NBA opportunity. Next is guard Jaelen House out of New Mexico State. If the last name sounds familiar to you, that's because it is. Jaelen is the son of former Celtic Eddie House. Jaelen averaged 16 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. House is an undersized guard at 6 foot even, but he's a quick PG that can play make and really guard the ball. He has the scrappy motor that small guards need to be impactful. Some areas of improvement for him would be ball security and just overall effectiveness as a scorer. He shot 37% from the field and 33% from behind the arc on 6 attempts. Next is Tyler Cook, who went undrafted in 2019 after spending 3 years at Iowa. He bounced around the NBA for a bit, playing 65 career games and being on 5 teams. Cook was actually teammates with Jason Tatum in high school. He hasn't played in an NBA game since the 2021-2022 season, but he's a strong power forward or small ball 5 that can shoot, so his opportunities have been limited. Next is Jahmi'us Ramsey. The 23-year-old was one and done out of Texas Tech. The Kings picked him in the second round, and he's played 39 NBA games since being drafted. Ramsey played very well in the G League last season, averaging 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 3.6 assists on 55-42 splits. Ramsey came out of college looked at for his scoring, and I think he can impress some teams if he goes out and does that efficiently. Last but not least is 6'9" center Killian Tillie. Tillie, who was 26 years old, went undrafted in 2020 out of Gonzaga and spent a couple seasons with the Grizzlies playing 54 games in that span, but hasn't gotten an NBA chance since 2021-2022. But that is the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just being out there a little bit more, and I will see you guys in the next video. But this is Nick. Peace.